Hello, and welcome back to the Niche Website Builders. No, it's the website investing show.
By Niche Website Builders.
It's the Niche Website by Niche Website Builders. Yeah, we've got a fantastic show for you guys today. We've got a great case study to share with you. Possibly looking like it might be one of our best case studies yet. Yeah, really excited to share that. Adam's gone super deep on detail, and so hopefully, yeah, there'll be lots to gain from watching the stream today. So look forward to that. But before we get going, how's your week been, Adam?
Yeah, it's been good. Short week here in the UK this week. We had the King's coronation on the weekend. Just an excuse for a bank holiday, basically another day off on Monday, which is crazy. It's the third bank holiday, 3 bank holidays in May, which is nice.
Yeah, got that one in 2 weeks, couple of weeks time, haven't we? Yeah.
So, yeah, but I didn't watch the coronation. I was having more of my leg tattooed on Monday, to be fair.
Oh, that's true. You weren't live streaming it from the tattoo parlor then?
No, definitely not. So yeah, it's been good. It's been a busy week trying to. I mean, short weeks are always busy. Full weeks are busy. Just busy weeks, but short weeks are busier weeks. But it's been good. Lots of good stuff happening this week. We moved our Beast case study website over from Ezoic to Mediavine, and that went live 2 days ago. I'm already starting to collect some interesting data. Give you a little teaser. It looks like our RPM rate has gone up by 50% from day one. And usually ad networks take at least a couple of weeks to kind of kick in. So I'm expecting a nice uplift there. And I also moved one of my own personal sites from Ezoic to Mediavine that just so happened to go live the exact same day. So we're collecting data, and one of our upcoming episodes will talk about the data. Did we see increases? Did we see decreases? What happened? That kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been good.
Excellent. How about you, Lois? How you been?
Yeah, all good. I think I'm only now getting used to the 4-day week, but I think the next 2 weeks we're back to normal, aren't we? So I'm just all over the place, really. But yeah, it's been nice to have a couple of 4-day weeks. But like Adam said, it's just busy, just normal week. But then trying to fit it all into 4 is a bit hectic sometimes. But
yeah,
it's fine. Sure. Can't complain.
I mean, the sun's shining a little bit today, but if you're not in the UK, the weather has been, we've had 2 good days, I think, in May, and it's just been terrible. And it's not a good start to the summer so far. So, it's not summer yet, I suppose.
It's rubbish.
It's not been warm, that's for sure. But anyway, so as I say, we've got a fantastic case study coming up for you. We're going to share with you. This is something that we're offering out now to customers. It's a package called our Growth Plans. We offer a number of different packages. So I'll let Adam share details of that at the end of the stream, but we're seeing some real good success in really scaling sites up fast, which is something we've always kind of case studies we've always shared on the stream before, but now we've kind of really productized it, and we've got some really good numbers to share. You've probably seen in the past that we shared a data project that we did where we studied 50,000 sites. That's kind of where that was born. Because we kind of worked out, okay, this is kind of roughly what you need to get earnings from each level, and we created a service out of it, and we're seeing some good results. So excited to share that with you today. And Lois is going to be doing her usual age domain breakdowns, which I look forward to it as well. Just a bit of housekeeping. If you're new around here, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great content like this. And I'm going to say it. See if we can get to 35 likes today, because there's already 20 people on stream. There's 22. They've already gone. They're already enough. But there's 20. Go back to 21. 21 people on stream. So hit the like button now. And if you do, at the end of the stream, if we get to 35 likes by the end of the stream, we'll give away some Niche Website Builders merch, t-shirts, mugs, and caps, and that kind of thing. With that said,
Mark, you used to model the merch, you used to model the hat and stuff. Maybe that's why we're not,
That's true. Actually, I haven't put the t-shirt on for ages, but yeah,
I haven't had the gangster hat on for ages either.
I see the hat. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Gangster hat.
Yeah. Okay, I'll model it now for the rest of the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, excellent, fantastic. So with enough talking from me, Adam, I'll let you kick off with the case study.
Sure. Okay, so I am going to share my screen. So this is, as Mark mentioned, we're offering growth packages now, and essentially they are based on our data project where we looked at 5,000 websites. We looked at the different bandings in terms of how much traffic they were getting, and essentially estimated what the revenue would be based on a typical RPM rate from a display ad network. And then from there, we looked at what the average domain rating was, what the backlink profile looked like, how many pieces of content they had, etc. And then we turned that into a service and basically said, if you want us to make you a website that gets the X amount of revenue per month on average, some perform better, some perform worse, but on average, that's the ballpark range you need to be in. We've basically turned it into a service, into a product. So you can come to us and say, I want you guys to make me a website that has all the ingredients that should make me $1,000 a month. Or you can come to us and say, hey, I want you to make me a website that makes $20,000 a month. And there's obviously different tiers in there. And the case study I'm going to share with you today is our top tier growth package. It's a website where the client wanted us to make a website that makes at least $20,000 a month. So it's 5 months in, it's lining up to already be one of our best performing case studies. We typically wouldn't share a case study this early on, but I think there's some nice learnings from this. I've gone into some nice detail in terms of how we did the keyword research for 3 million words of content. We've been doing really aggressive digital PR building on here, and I share the details of the links that we built for that. And then also in terms of how it always doesn't go smoothly as well. There was an issue quite early on with this website where we saw clicks and impressions drop off in Search Console, and then we quickly diagnosed the issue, fixed it, and then you can see it take off again. But it just goes to show that, even experienced website builders and owners, there's still always teething issues, but as long as you can overcome them, and then you can see kind of what happens as you go on. So hopefully this is jam-packed and full of kind of useful information that you can take away and kind of implement into your own sites. So just an overview of the case study. Obviously, we built it on an authority site. Obviously, we built it on an age domain. Every growth package essentially will be built on an age domain. We love age domains. If you've never watched the stream before, literally just scroll back through any of our videos. Most of them involve an age domain in some fashion, whether we're building on it or using them to 301 redirect or in one way or another. We were also going to create and publish over 2,000 pieces of content for this website. And even though we started with a DR62, we're also doing aggressive link building to build this site ideally to a DR70 plus. And again, those numbers weren't just pulled out of the air. Those numbers were based on our data study. And we know that to get to the revenue level that this client wants to get to, we need to have over 2,000 pieces of content, and it needs to be in that kind of DR range to compete with the other sites that are getting that kind of traffic and making that kind of revenue on average. So as I mentioned, this was built on an age domain, DR62 at launch with 3,200 referring domains. The website originally had been around since early 2010, and it was already an established site in the niche. Historically, according to Ahrefs, it was generating up to 35,000 monthly visitors. They had a very active blog that had over 5,000 pieces of content, which I'll come on to in a little bit, because that made the redirect plan that we had to create quite complicated. There ended up being hundreds of redirects and us recreating content for hundreds of posts. We maintained the exact same topic of the content. Now, this isn't always possible. Like, usually, as long as the niche is relevant, that's fine. But this website used to literally be, say, for example, it was a food review website back in the day. We would have created a food review website on this one. It's not in that space, but essentially it's the exact same topic. It wasn't even closely related. It was literally exactly the same. And our first post went live on the 10th of January, 2023. So it's 5 months old, literally yesterday. So in terms of keyword research, I mean, everyone kind of has their own different ways of doing keyword research. We have our own ways for niche website builders. And it almost always starts with the tomb raiding methodology. If you are kind of new around here, we've got a whole video on the tomb raiding methodology and how we do it. But essentially, we are looking for websites that are in the same space, so covering the same topic, that typically have a weaker domain than our client. And in this case, there was loads of them because we're working with a DR62 off the bat. So there was tons of weaker competitors. And then we look for, of those weaker competitors, sites that are doing a standout job of generating traffic. Now, usually from there, we would look at what those pieces of content are, analyze them, and go from there. But in this case, what we noticed was with that list of competitor sites that were doing well, most of them had a very specific type of post structure that could be replicated at scale. So what I mean by that is, think about best bars in X location, where you could have hundreds of locations. So you could pull out every single state, for example. You can have best bars in X state, and then you could pull out the top 10 cities within each state, and you could have best bars in X city. So already you've already got quite an expansive list of keywords. This niche allowed us basically to have lots of post structures that allowed that kind of expansion, where it was best something in or best type of something, where you could just swap out one of the words for either lots of locations or lots of different topics. It could be colors, it could be anything like that, that allowed us really to expand the keyword research quite massively. And I'll go into a little bit more detail. Basically what that looks like here is, once we'd expanded out that list of, best X in X, we had to create categories and subcategories, because you can't just, for 3 million words of content, you can't just have them all sit in one category. And essentially we were able to come up with 4 primary categories. So keeping on the best bar by state, for example, in this case, it could have been best bars by states, best cafes by states, best restaurants by state. And then if you think within the states, you'll maybe have the top 10 cities. Very quickly, you could see that you'd have, over 50 states, and then 500. If each of those states had 10 cities, you'd have 500 city posts, and then you'd have 500 city posts for the bars, 500 city posts for cafes, 500 city posts for restaurants. Before you know it, you've got enough topic ideas essentially for several thousand pieces of content. And then within those primary categories, we came up with 10 subcategories. So an example could be, you might have best bars by state, but the subcategories could be broken down into cocktail bars and gin bars and that kind of thing. So what we ended up with this website was 4 primary categories. And then within those 4 primary categories, there were 10 subcategories that kind of break it down. This is the best example really I could think of without giving away the exact space that this site was in. But hopefully that kind of makes sense on how we broke down the site structure for this one. And then in terms of the redirect plan, like I said, given the size of the old site, there was over 5,000 posts on there. We needed an in-depth redirection plan, and that was to maintain the referring domains and the relevance. Because lots of the content that was on there would cover the exact same topics, we'd identified 125 old posts that we could create new content for that cover the exact same topic. So going back to that best bars in example, maybe the old website had best bars in Boston, best bars in New York, and we thought that keyword was worth going after. So we created our own piece of content called best bars in New York. And where possible, we would have maintained the same URL structure. And where not possible, we would have set up a redirect from that old post to our new piece of content. And then there were another 422 posts on the old website that we wanted to maintain. However, the content that was on there wouldn't have been a good fit for our new categories. It's still really relevant, but it just wasn't. Either the keyword wasn't good enough for us to go after, or we just thought it wouldn't quite fit the new website. So what we then did was we identified which was the most similar primary or subcategory page, and then we set up a 301 redirect into there. So we ended up with 125 new pieces of content that covered the old topics. And then we ended up with 422 redirects where old content went into primary or subcategories. And then finally on this one as well, it was a complicated site. There were 3 old subdomains as well. So there used to be a forum on there, for example. And we had to set those up as new websites in our hosting, set up forwarding, and then we redirected those into relevant category pages as well. So quite an extensive redirect plan, really important essentially to maintain all of the relevance and all of the backlinks that were pointing to the old website. And it worked out really well because the site took off quite quick. And I think lots of that had, was to do with the redirect plan, maintaining that relevance, maintaining the post-to-post relevance where possible as well. And then in terms of the content, this is what can I turn these graphics off, Mark? Yeah. So in terms of the content, this is what the timeline looked like. This was as of the 9th of May. There were 1,407 pieces of content live. So the website went live in January. 239 posts were published in January. In February, another 402 were published. I think I've mixed up I've got different numbers in the graph at the bottom and on the top. Let me just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it's the one in the table, I think that's right. So 239 at launch, 402 in February, 233 in March, 170 in April, and 248 in May. So massive content velocity, launched with a ton of content, and then have basically kept up that content velocity for the last 5 months. And really, we don't have any plans on slowing that down. Essentially, we plan on keeping this kind of content velocity through until the end of the year. And that should take us to over 2,000 pieces of content. We've been adding content. Obviously, the client has actually been adding some of their own content as well. So it's been a massive effort in terms of getting content live on the website. Not just writing, writing 200, 300 pieces of content is a challenge, but then formatting, uploading, adding images. Every single one of these pieces of content also has affiliate links as well, which even though they're informational, they have affiliate links in there. So adding affiliate links and making it all uniformed is quite the task. And we've been able to scale the business and the team and the process internally to allow us to do this on scale, which is why we feel confident offering these kind of growth packages now. But essentially, if you were to do this yourself, it's possible, but it's a huge task and a huge undertaking, and really proud that we get all this content live on the site.
I'm not sure how possible it is unless you're doing it full time. I don't know.
Definitely a full time.
500 posts in March or whatever it was.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
But yeah, I mean, hats off to the team. I know Leanne's watching this. She's been heading up this project and making sure everything is done on time and on schedule. So yeah, they've done an awesome job in making sure this project stays on track and everything is done and uploaded as needed. And then in terms of link building, we've been doing very aggressive link building. So we are always on the lookout for relevant age domains. We actually found an awesome relevant age domain for this one. I'll go into the details in a second. And as well as looking for age domains to redirect in, we've also been doing lots of digital PR. And we actually had one of our digital PR campaigns for this project go viral. It ended up getting syndicated across a news network, across, well, I think we've built over 60 digital PR links for this campaign now. And I'll share some of those details in a second as well. So in terms of redirects, like I said, the website went live in January. We didn't find any relevant domains to redirect in January or February. And then we found one in March. It was literally a perfect domain to redirect in. It was the exact same topic as the website that we built. And it was a DR50, which is awesome. Very rare do you find such high domains, high DR domains, and to have it match the relevance exactly was awesome. It was a great find. And you can see there on the Ahrefs graph that we went from kind of 3,200-ish referring domains up to 3,700 within a short space of time. And that's pretty much one of the main reasons that we love using age domains to redirect in as link building. On a domain, on a cost per domain basis, it's super cost effective to redirect in an age domain. Like it's awesome. You could never build 1,000 referring domains for the cost of an age domain to redirect in, and you could never do it in such a short space of time. which is why I think it's such a powerful method, and why we include it with most projects where we can find related age domains, but even more so in these high tier growth packages. I've talked about this before, loads of times actually. We've probably got 2 or 3 videos on it, but the redirect process is very specific. We don't just redirect it to the homepage. We create what we call an acquisition or a skyscraper page saying, hey, our website has acquired the URL of another website. Welcome all the visitors and readers from that old website. And did you know that we also cover, these kinds of topics? And within that piece of content, we will internally link through to all of our, or as many of our pieces of content as possible. And then we'll set up the domain to redirect into that acquisition page. And what that does is it maintains relevancy, because we talk about acquiring it. We talk about what content used to be on there potentially. And then also it passes that power of that domain and channels it through to the individual blog posts through those internal links. So you can kind of control where the power goes. You can kind of shape it and shift it. And also it looks natural to Google. If a business was to acquire another business, chances are they would want to talk about it. They would want to create a specific page that talks about it. They probably wouldn't just redirect the domain to the homepage. It just doesn't look natural. And with all these things, we're trying to make things look as natural as possible, as if one business essentially has acquired another business. So these are the digital PR links that we've built. I put some high-level stats on the right. The average DR is DR62, and the average Ahrefs traffic is 686,000. So these are high-quality tier 1 kind of news websites. You can see URL 5 in there is a DR92 with 35 million visits a month. I'm pretty sure that was yahoo.com. And then essentially, this is where I think most of these have come from what we call reactive and newsjacking stories. So we will look and follow the news and see what's trending in this specific niche, what's coming up. And in this case, we tied it into Star Wars Day. Interestingly enough, the niche is nothing about Star Wars Day, but the digital PR team were able to hook into an upcoming event, Star Wars Day. They pulled together it wasn't even heavy data. It's just a list of Star Wars inspired kind of listicle piece of data content. We went through a journalist database and looked at people that have talked about Star Wars days in the past. And we pitched them and sent them out this kind of topic and said, hey, look, we know Star Wars Day is coming up. We've got this data piece. I think it's really interesting and really cool. It got picked up. I think it got picked up by Reach PLC, which own a ton of news websites, and was syndicated across, I think, 40-something of their news sites, which was awesome. And then there's been other links in here. We were actually really fortunate enough to pitch to another journalist that writes for technically a competitor of our client's website, and they took the pitch and run with the pitch as well. So we've got a backlink from our digital PR efforts on basically what is a competitor website as well, which is awesome to see. Our client was super happy with that. So far, the digital PR efforts have been going really well for this campaign. They don't all work like this. I mean, you're at the mercy of journalists at the end of the day. You've got to come up with good angles and good pitches, and essentially you've got to send them out and see what comes back. But so far, this campaign has done really, really well. And I talked earlier about redirecting in age domains, and that's definitely a good link building strategy. But for digital PR links, the links that come in are awesome. Like, there's really high quality links, high DR, high traffic. But another good thing about digital PR links essentially is that you typically, when the link is placed on these websites, they mention the author's name. So they'll say, this data was commissioned by Adam Smith from Niche Website Builders, for example. And the anchor text typically will include the person's name. So when that links back to the website, you start to build a footprint, a digital footprint for that person as being an expert. If you get 63, kind of high tier news websites or competitors linking back to you, and some of them are including a name and some of them are including a name and the website, and it's surrounded by text that covers the topic, essentially this signals to Google to say, hey, look, this person, this persona, this author of this website is actually an authority, is an expert in this topic. And you start to turn, lots of these websites that we make, the personas typically are made up people, so they don't exist digitally beforehand. But you start to get that, you start to create that real kind of persona digital footprint for them. And we've talked a lot about EAT and expertise, authority and trust and experience. This just feeds into that. It's one small facet, but getting those links and creating that digital footprint is just, an addition on Google EAT, and you start to create a moat around your website where it's difficult for competitors to come and compete. Unless they were doing their own digital PR campaigns, they're not going to get links on the same kind of websites, and they're not going to get that same kind of link velocity, and typically they're not going to get that same kind of digital footprint where they're linking back using the author's name and that kind of stuff. So we love digital PR links for the links, but also because of this additional side benefit, essentially. We've also been adding in more schema for EAT recently. We've updated our SOP, so pretty much every age domain package now comes with this as standard. But in this case, what we're doing essentially is we're looking at all of the old social media profiles, or what I call brand equity, because apart from when you work with an age domain, apart from the link profile, which in this case was really good at DR62, there's been a lot of other activity that's gone on during the whole life of the website. So this website's been around since 2010. It's built up a lot of, I call it brand equity because I don't really know what else to call it, but basically it's social media pages, it's Facebook pages, Instagram accounts. Maybe they raised funding and they had a Crunchbase profile. Maybe they've actually got a Wikipedia page. In this case, they do. And you can utilize those essentially within the schema of the website to build trust essentially with Google. And we've been doing this a lot recently, and we are seeing sites get into Google Discover very quickly, this site in particular. But not just that, we just seem to see sites take off that little bit quicker if you can display this and if you can add this to the website. So for this specific website, these are the accounts, or these are the brand equity that we managed to find. So they used to have a YouTube channel with 2,500 subscribers, 405 videos. And collectively, since the channel had been around, it had had over 1 million views. They had a Pinterest account with 925 followers, Instagram account with 5,000 followers, a Flickr account. I mean, I don't know how old school that is, but only 47 followers. But it was still there, and it's still linked to them. It's still got that brand equity. Facebook page with 32,000 followers. And they also had a Wikipedia page, which talked about the brand and had a link back to the website as well. So it wasn't even just a footer link on Wikipedia. It was literally a page talking about the old brand. So all this is great. I mean, from a legal perspective, you can't go and take over these accounts just because you own the domain. You don't own the accounts. But what we can do is we can leverage them. And what I mean by that is we've got 4 ways to do that. So the first way we can do that and take that or leverage that brand equity is the website persona or author that we create. We'll make sure that they share the first name with the old owner. We check the about pages in Wayback Machine to kind of see who was on the author page or who's on the About Us or Meet the Team page. And we don't typically use the same full name, but we'll use the same first name, and that keeps the connection for Google. And usually, I don't know if you've got any on today, Lois, but not usually, sometimes even in the anchor text profile of age domains, you can see the old author's name where people have linked to the website using their name. We also mark up the About Us page with person schema and add any old social media accounts to that schema. So when someone goes to the About Us page, they don't see that. It's not visible on the front end, but through that structured data and through that schema, we show Google that there's a connection to those accounts. And usually those accounts have been abandoned for years, but it doesn't really matter if they're abandoned, if they're still active. These accounts in this specific case have been abandoned years ago, but it doesn't really matter. They're still live. They're still getting views. They're still getting people on there. And also they still have a link back to the website, to the client's website. And if we link the other way via the schema, it just creates that connection for Google. The other thing that we do is we mark up the contact us page with organization schema. It's similar to the above. Essentially, we take all data that we can find, and it's not visible on the front end, but it's visible in the code to Google that there's a connection there. And then finally, we use Yoast, or you can use Rank Math, and we add same as schema to each post, which is basically marks up as the author, and we link back through to the social media accounts again. So that then means that each post has an author box and structured data linking through to social accounts. And you can do this with real accounts. You can go and create your own social media accounts and stuff, which we recommend. But at least initially, when you launch the site, you can have all this stuff without having to go through and create all those accounts. You can show to Google that there's history there, that there used to be these social media accounts. There's still a connection, and nobody, when they come to the website, has to see that. It's all just in the structured data on the back end. And these are the results. So Google Analytics for the last 28 days. I'll explain why it's gone up and gone down. It's Google Discover traffic. But essentially, it's had a massive last 30 days. It's been 492,000 visitors to the website in the last 28 days. You'll see direct there essentially is mostly Google Discover, and then you've got some organic search. It's weird. New GA4 is actually, I think, from what I can see, because I was trying to get it to match up to GA to Universal Analytics. In Universal Analytics, it was always just direct that used to be Google Discover, and then organic search was pure organic. But in GA4, I can't get it to match up because the organic search doesn't tally up to what's in Universal Analytics and doesn't tally up to what's in Search Console. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels about GA4, but I think it's horrible. I don't know why Google are moving away from it, from Universal Analytics. I see loads of people panicking because you get the timer now saying there's literally 50 days left to switch over. I personally hate it, but it's what we've got to work with, and screenshots going forward will be GA4 until we can figure out a better solution. But this is probably better to look at. So we've got Search Console data, and this is just pure organic. So this is just people coming from Google non-Discover traffic, and you can see that website has been live essentially from the beginning of January, and slow start. We had a nice little pickup around March time, and then you can see a drop off a little bit. It doesn't look very significant here now because it's increased quite dramatically over the last month or so. But that was where the issue was, and I'll go into more detail on that in a little bit. But it's seen some tremendous growth. I pulled this together on the 9th of May. It's continued growing. It's crossed 3,000 organic clicks per day now. So the website from a pure Google non-Discover traffic is on track for about 100,000 visits per month after five months essentially. And this is where the big growth came from that we saw. So this is Google Discover traffic. Now, we saw some early Google Discover traffic in March, and then we saw a massive amount of Google Discover traffic over the last couple of weeks, peaked out at around 90-something thousand visitors per day. The only downside of Google Discover is it's hit and miss. It can send incredible amounts of traffic to random pieces of content. I actually pulled out some data on this recently. I shared it on my LinkedIn post, but essentially what I looked at was of this organic data, essentially, how on average, how old was the content versus how old was the content on Google Discover. And I'm just going to pull up the actual numbers because it was quite interesting. But it's kind of unlocking or helping us understand Google Discover better. So for this organic search here, the average piece of content had been live 54 days. For this Discover traffic, the average piece of content had been live for just 11 days. So to me, that signals that fresh content, or when you publish new content, it's either going to get picked up by Google Discover pretty quick, and then you see a big spike in traffic, or it's not going to get picked up. There's a very short lifespan for Google Discover traffic. Now, for me, that just signifies the importance of content velocity and why you should keep adding content. if you want to see spikes in Google Discover traffic, there's no point adding content and then not adding any more content. You want to keep adding content. And it looks like you publish content, you wait maybe 10 or 11 days, you're either going to see Google Discover traffic or you're not, essentially. So you can pretty quickly understand, are you going to see Discover traffic or is it not coming? The hard part is I analyzed what posts out of the 1,400 were responsible for most of this Google Discover traffic, and there's literally nothing similar about them. They're across all the 4 different categories. They're across all the 10 different subcategories. It wasn't like, you know, all of them belong to one primary category or even one subcategory. It was just a random mix. So apart from understanding that fresh content is one of the keys for Google Discovery, it's still really difficult to understand what generates these big spikes. But they're nice when they come, and we'll take them. And I'm sure that there's more to come for this website from Google Discover. This is Google Search Console data combined. So you can see of the total, essentially, there's been 825,000 clicks to the website since we launched. 6% of them are organic, which is going up daily. We're over 3,000 clicks now. And a massive chunk has come from Google Discover. This is one of the project learnings here, and I'm going to take off those captions again, Mark. So this was that little spike that I said you could see early on, but it didn't really look significant. And the website started taking off quite quickly, essentially. Can you guys hear my cat, by the way? Sorry. I guess he's managed to open.
Yeah, just walked in.
Oh.
It looks like I just threw him down the stairs, but I didn't. I just put him on the top.
We'll take your word for it.
So the website started taking off. Impressions and clicks were going up nicely, and then it dropped off quite dramatically. And this was before Google Discover, the Google Discover traffic. We're like, oh, what's going on? What's going on here? So the web build team looked into it, and we saw that the client had installed a caching plugin, and basically it was causing a conflict. So what that meant was the website had 2 versions of every post, one with a trailing slash and one without the trailing slash. Now, usually that's fine because one or the other gets redirected. So if you set up the website to have a trailing slash, the non-trailing slash will get redirected. But the plugin was causing a conflict with that redirect. So essentially, the website had 2 versions of every single post, and Google was getting confused. Like, which one do I rank? You've got duplicate content. Every post has 2 versions. So we saw that. And then we also saw that they'd installed some accessibility plugins and heat map scripts that had caused the site to drop from passing web core vitals to failing. So we saw that pretty quickly. We removed the caching plugin, we removed the accessibility plugin, and submitted for Search Console verification. And literally within like a week or 2, the traffic had started coming back, and impressions and clicks had started going up again. So it's all like that could be super easy to miss. Like, you just install a caching plugin and forget about it. Typically, I've done it myself. I think, oh, I need a caching plugin. I'll install it, and you don't really see anything unless you are looking in Search Console like every day or every week. And the reason that we saw this was mainly not because of that drop off. That was almost secondary. What we could see was there was lots of errors in Search Console in terms of pages with incorrect, and I can never say this word, canonical tags on there. And essentially, when we looked into that, we could see that the non-trailing slash wasn't set up to redirect correctly. So it just highlights the importance of, you know, new websites or established websites going in and checking Search Console and checking what's going on in there quite frequently. I'm guilty of it myself on my own personal websites. I check analytics every day. I check Search Console maybe once a month, if that. And for me, this is like, oh, actually, I probably should be checking them more often, because what am I missing? What could be going on? So future plans for this website. The site is now approved and being integrated with AdThrive for display ads. We're going to continue creating and uploading content, continue digital PR link building, and where we can, I mean, we always say this, but we only find hyper relevant, good quality domains. When and where we can find them, we'll present them to the client, and if they want to go for them, we'll buy them, redirect them in, set up that acquisition page, and do all that kind of stuff that goes along with that. But essentially, it's more of the same. One of the things I think that for sites that grow this quick, one of the things I think that we should be thinking about, and we'll probably start talking to the client about soon, is it's monetized at the moment with Amazon and obviously AdThrive. But once you start getting, 100 to 300,000, 400,000 visitors a month to the website, it's very easy then to start thinking about how else you can monetize that. Is that creating a community? Is that creating a newsletter and monetizing the newsletter? Is that creating some kind of course or digital product and trying to sell that? So even this early on, I mean, it's 5 or 6 months in, now's the time that we probably need to start thinking about what are the additional monetization options for this site as well. So this is, I mean, it's always nice to see all those nice stats and nice visitor numbers and stuff, but this is basically the project spend and the project goals. So even though it was a relatively high DR domain, the client found this one themselves. The primary domain essentially only cost them $4,050. And interestingly, they emailed us to say, hey, we are looking at this domain. Can you vet it for us? We said, oh, actually, we've already vetted this because we were looking at it ourselves. It passes our checks. They were bidding on it. They didn't win the domain. It went over their budget. And then GoDaddy went back to them and said, actually, the last 2 people that won, the 2 bids above you, didn't pay. almost by luck. Do you want it for your winning bid? And they were like, yeah, great, awesome. We've got a DR62 for a bargain here. So almost felt like fate, really, that they were going to buy this domain. There's been about $196,000 spent on content, around $19,000 on digital PR, and then we've put aside around $10,000 for age domains, essentially. So all in all, across a 12-month period, it's not all up front, essentially, this project will cost this customer about $230,000. So it's definitely on the high end of our growth plans. It's one of the higher end packages that we offer, but the project goals are also quite lofty. So we expect this website within a 3-year period to be earning at least $20,000 a month. We imagine that they would then exit this site for at least $800,000 at a 40x multiple. And during that 3-year period, on a very pessimistic scale, and I mean, literally, it's assuming 0 revenue in year 1, some revenue in year 2, and a full year of revenue in year 3, we expect that they'd earn at least $365,000 in kind of revenue just from display ads, so excluding courses and all that kind of stuff. So over a 3-year period, if they exit the site as well, we'd expect them to make a return of just over $1 million. So kind of a 400% return. Now, these are obviously not guarantees. These are goals and aspirations based on the data project, but it's already quite easy to see that this site is probably going to exceed these goals. If it keeps growing the way it is, 100,000 visits a month organic in month 5, even without Google Discover, it's probably going to get there quicker than 3 years. But if Google Discover keeps coming back like that, you don't need many months like that where you get, almost 1 million visitors from Google Discover and a couple of 100,000 visits a month from just organic within the first 12 months to see at $20,000 a month could be really low in terms of estimates. So really excited for this project. It's probably one where we're going to keep updating going forward over the next year or so. And we'll just keep updating you and telling you how it's going, updating these project goals if it's getting better or not, and just sharing our learnings essentially as we scale these projects. And we've got a couple more case studies like this now where we've done these high growth kind of growth plans essentially. So yeah, we'll be sharing more and more of these kinds of higher level case studies in the next couple of months as well. And that's essentially it. I mean, if you're, Jordan mentioned in one of the comments at the start, if you're interested in learning more about these growth packages or going through some of the data, then reach out. They're more than happy to have a call with you and kind of talk you through the research and what it looks like and kind of how they're structured and planned out. But yeah, that was it. That was the case study.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Adam. We've got a few questions, so I'd like to cover them off before we move on to Lois. So Karamjeet says, the posts you create, do you make sure to SEO optimize them or achieve certain score before you publish them?
Sure. Yeah, so they're all SEO optimized in terms of they all have the keyword in the primary keyword in the title, the primary keyword in the URL. They all have a meta description. They all are structured in an SEO friendly way. And what I mean by that is they all have the correct format in terms of H1, H2, H3. They've all got images. The featured image is the correct size, which is optimized for Google Discover and things like that. So they're optimized. Everything's optimized for SEO. In terms of achieving a certain score, I'm assuming you mean maybe like a Yoast score or a rank math score. And the answer is no. We don't optimize to any kind of software or tools. And the reason being, that's their own internal score. Yoast and rank math have come up with their own kind of red, green, orange traffic light system where they say, oh, this is a good post and this is not a good post. But that's not Google. That's just their interpretation of it. And you can spend a ton of time optimizing content to get green scores across the board and see nothing. Like it's just it's almost like a fallacy. So no, we don't try and achieve any kind of certain scores on any tools.
Well, it's like 95% of the stuff in there is worthless, isn't it? But they've got to put that in there to just justify paying for premium, right?
Yeah.
It's not really much use. So yeah, we don't tend to follow that kind of stuff. Next question, Jordan. When using Schema to link to old socials, would you replace when you eventually create new socials, or can you link to both?
Yeah, so you can link to both in the Schema. What I would say though is if you're going to do that, is I would create first off author specific socials, new specific socials for the authors that you create, and update the author schema first and foremost. And then go and create kind of more general website based social media, and then add them into the About Us page and organizational schema. So you've got real life person, like a real life person socials, and that's on the author page, like in the author schema. And then you can add both then to the About Us and organizational schema.
Excellent. Mike says, I'm struggling with getting content indexed. G is saying they've crawled the pages but not indexing them. Should I keep at it or wait for G to index? Any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you say Google is saying they've crawled the pages but they're not indexing them. I'm assuming that means in the in Search Console report saying it's crawled, not indexed. I find that even if it's been crawled and not indexed, if you take the URLs and force index them, so you take it, you put it in and you click request index, that will typically help speed up the process. Also make sure that you've done good internal linking. That helps with indexing. And you can usually see that again, when you put the URL into Search Console, it'll tell you typically if it's been identified either through the sitemap or through another post. So just make sure that you've got good internal linking, because that will help with indexing. And then the other thing that we have found in the past, and we still do now to help with indexing, is to embed YouTube videos into the content. I don't know why that helps, but we found that it helps index content better. So just make sure you're doing those three things. Keep posting content regularly, because get Google to keep coming back to the website. You can see how often Google comes back to your website in Search Console in the crawl stats data. If you go to settings and then crawl stats, if you keep publishing content regularly, you should see crawl stats data going up and to the right. That just means Google is expecting to find new content, so they come back more often. Just keep doing that. Internal linking, force index it, and embed YouTube videos. And then also Leanne's just said there's a theory that Pinterest helps with faster indexing, which is another great point. If you can link to it from social media accounts or anything like that, essentially you're just trying to show Google, these are all the routes to the piece of content. Force index it, internal links, posts, include it in social media posts. You just want Google to come and notice it, essentially.
Excellent. Two more. Does the featured image need to be 1600 by 840 pixels so it can be picked up by Google's Discover?
It typically needs to be a little bit bigger than that. So it needs to typically be at least 2,000 pixels wide. So if you are only making them 1,600, Adrian, then I would recommend you making them at least a little bit bigger, at least 2,000 pixels wide. They can be larger than that, essentially. There's no right or wrong, but for Google Discover, essentially the featured image is quite an important bit, and it needs to be high resolution of at least 2,000 pixels.
Okay. And last one, El Coach, can I see your kitty?
No, because he's so noisy. He's such a pain. If he just came up and wasn't meowing all the time, he'd be fine. He's such a meower.
Just wants to join in the conversation.
Wait, if we get to 35 likes, I'll go and get the cat. How about that?
We've got some work to do. We're at 23.
Is it worth?
If we don't get to 35, you throw the cat down the stairs, right? So
isn't it? His name is Percy Purrer, because he purrs all the time as well. So I'll go and get him. I'll even take his jumper off.
No, keep it on. Oh, I want to see his jumper.
Naked cat. All right, fantastic. That's all the questions for now. Oh, hang on, somebody's talking about your beard. The beard is going nuts.
Yeah, getting along, isn't it?
Cool. Okay, so excellent. So thanks for that, Adam. Over to you, Lois, for the age domain breakdowns. Oh, and hit the like button if you haven't already. We're at 25. So
yes. Everyone wants to see Percy. Maybe as Lois is doing the domains, I'll go and get him, and I can tease him.
Yes.
Tease with a paw.
Yes, I love that idea.
Right. Excellent.
Okay, perfect. I might just readjust you guys. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so with two age domains to be turned on for you this week, guys, as normal. The first one we have Cape Cod Chefs. It's in the food niche, 6 years old and 55 referring domains with a DR of 6. So this domain was created back in 2003, really just to showcase Cape Cod's best chefs and their restaurants. The site actually offered an exclusive membership where restaurants could actually apply and showcase all their meals, their chefs and stuff on the site to really help tourist attraction, a bit more engagement and stuff within Cape Cod and the restaurants around there. So this is what it looked like when the site was live. As you can see, really basic, but really there to help tourists and other people looking to go to Cape Cod to find nice restaurants and stuff for them. So as you can see here, let's find a place to eat, find a restaurant. So really just there for informational purposes. And then the backlink profile. So as I mentioned, 55 referring domains. We really looking heavily at quite local backlink profiles, which again, exactly the type of stuff we'd be looking for, as it was there to really advertise and promote different restaurants and stuff within the Cape Cod area. So you've got boston.com, DR88, bostonchefs.com, DR57, restaurants.com, DR56, massfoodandwine.com, DR34, and Cape Cod Guide, DR31. So really nice local backlinks. They're really relevant to the site when it was live. As well, with the anchor text profile, a little bit small here, but with all of our anchor text profiles with our age domains, we really want to look at an anchor text profile that is natural, and what we really mean by that is how it would sit within the content on the site. So with this one, as it was really just to promote the specific place in the restaurants and stuff, we really want to look at the branded anchor text, which, as you can see, there's if you have insane vision,
I can see it.
we have. Can you see? Oh, I can just about make it out.
Well, if you make the screen bigger, that's why.
But yeah, so as you can see, we have CapeCodChefs.com, and then just all different restaurants, different types of anchor text all the way down here. But again, natural, branded, different restaurants and stuff. So really natural, exactly the type of stuff that we are looking for within the anchor text profile for this age domain.
You can see in there, go back as well. I think you can see in there the guy that used to run it, Anthony.
See, I cannot see this. I see.
He's towards the.
Is there? I see a Peter as well, actually.
Oh, I'm Peter. Yeah,
Peter?
so it'd be
Does that say
interesting to
Peter?
see. You know, was
So-
this run by two people? Somebody called Peter and somebody called Anthony. But this is what I meant earlier when I said we'd recreate the persona of the website based on one of the old owners and how it looks natural. Then the site's already linked back using their name.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really, really handy to really go in, double check those anchor text profiles with age domains and stuff. So then you can really just create the persona using the same first name. We never use the same last name, the same first name as the people that actually did create the site in the first place. Again, Best Buy links. What we are looking for here is really just directing to the homepage. Why? Because this is the most powerful page on the domain, and as you can see here, the majority of the referring domains are going straight to that homepage. Exactly what we like to see. And then just a couple more then for different restaurants and stuff. Potentially look at recreating if need be. Really looking at the DR of the referring domains that are linking to these target pages. And that's really how we look at when it comes to a redirect. If we really like the link juice, as we call it, going into one page, we'll sort of recreate that, get that link juice going into there. So that's really, really helpful for when we do vet our age domains. So the strategy here, informational pieces of content where all around food, cuisines, food traditions, recipes, specifically focusing on seafood, just to really complement the local cuisine of Cape Cod. Really, really huge on their fish and stuff. And then really going into the listicle type of content that we do. So for local cuisines, we could do X number of seafood restaurants in Cape Cod, steakhouses, fine dining restaurants in Cape Cod, loads of different things like that, really to just keep the historic content relevant with the new strategy that we put in place. And then really just going on to general Cape Cod FAQs, most popular restaurants in Cape Cod, best restaurants in Cape Cod provide takeaway, foods, what food are popular in Cape Cod, and what is Cape Cod style food. So these are actually all FAQs that are on Google at the moment. So definitely looking into those and see if we can create pieces of content. Answering these is a really, really good way to get the strategy put in place. So our competitors, so the first one we had, the foodlens.com, DR47. So it is a lot higher than us. But again, just really showing you the type of keywords and stuff that we really could be aiming for to get to these type of DRs. 35.5 organic monthly traffic with 934 pages. So these guys actually really do focus a lot on Boston and Illinois in general. So really zoning in on a specific location, which is exactly what we will be doing when it comes to our strategy. So you can see here, Boston restaurants with private rooms, best Indian food near me. So lots of different local keywords to really be looking in on, which is exactly the type of stuff that we will be doing within the Cape Cod area. And then we have a big one, Geo DR71, 328k of organic monthly traffic, over 75,000 pages, so huge site. But again, this really zones in on a number of different states and stuff, but focusing on restaurants. So again, really looking into the type of the listicle content that will be really huge in our strategy, and the type of success that we can implement within this age domain itself. So what makes these competitors stand out to the others? So these two actually have their own online communities. They really they have their own newsletters. They really like to interact with their audiences online. So they really focus on uploading their content weekly. their socials linked to their site, they have their own imagery, and they have this saturated topic listers. So within these sites, exactly what you'll be doing within this age domain too, they have completely and utterly saturated the different restaurants in Boston, the different restaurants in Las Vegas, so all different types of stuff like that, which is exactly the type of stuff that you'll be doing within the Cape Cod area. So revenue opportunities, again, so the main goal is really not to rely on Google. So you have your display ads, your affiliate programs, again, your newsletters. This is really, really helpful when looking at competitors, if they have different type of stuff that they are using to make their own revenue opportunities. So you got the newsletters, your own courses, your own products, and all stuff like that. So really, really zoning in on this type of niche that you have, and really making it your own with your newsletters, with your courses. You could do a chef's course, a cooking course, food course, your products especially within the food niche, such a huge amount of products to be really zoning in on. And then that really goes into diversifying your traffic with your Google, socials, emails, all that type of stuff. Again, EAT optimization, we talk about it every week, but it's really, really important to be getting those. And we do that within our strategy. Every strategy we put in place really helps to optimize your EAT. As Adam mentioned earlier, with the personas of the different anchor text, so we'll really be looking at them, creating personas for them, and the About Us page, linking any type of social media and stuff that they have onto that. Obviously, the frequent content, really, really, really important to keep that ranking on Google. And then your link building as well. So your link building really helps just to get that DR and that traffic building and building and building. So link building, it can be your just the average link building stuff, your Harrow, the DPR type of stuff. So lots and lots of things to consider. But again, so many opportunities within this niche and for this age domain as well. So we have our second age domain today. So this is Chicago Bed and Breakfast. This is within the travel niche, 25 years old, so really, really old age domain, 69 referring domains and a DR15. So this was created in 1999 for the Chicago Bed and Breakfast Association. These were just a non-profit membership organization for bed and breakfasts within the city of Chicago. These really just to have this type of association, you had to be licensed and inspected by these guys, really just to make sure the quality, the safety, and that they were providing for their stays within Chicago, just really, really were top notch. The type of stuff that they would only really accept the bed and breakfasts, who had high hygiene ratings and all stuff like that. So the exact type of stuff that tourists will be looking for. So again, this is what this looked like when it was live, as I mentioned, a 26 years old age domain, really, really old age domain, but lots and lots of content on here, just really about hundreds of bed and breakfasts, really just talking about the type of stuff that they were doing, why they were important within this type of industry, and so on. Again, backend profile, 69 of them. So we have discoveryourtown.booth.com. So there's a lot of different ones on here to really be looking at. Again, really, really not looking at a huge amount of backlink profiles, but this definitely could potentially work as a 301 redirect, especially within a travel blog if you needed to, within Chicago and stuff. So definitely something to consider. And again, the anchor text profile, exactly what we like to see right at the top, branded, chicagobedandbreakfast.com, and then all just branded anchor text all the way down here. Got the Chicago Bed and Breakfast Association. You just have your naked anchor text again, absolutely fine. So really nice anchor text, and it would have sit in the content really nicely, naturally. So exactly what we like to be seeing. And again, our best by links, so as you can see here, the majority of the referring domains is linking to the homepage, exactly what we like to be seeing. There's nothing here that is really any of a red flag. The majority of them are really just going to the homepage, exactly what we like to see. As you mentioned, it is a really old site. So just go into the homepage, really getting all that information and stuff there was on that homepage, and then the tourists then can sort of do their own research into the type of bed and breakfasts they had available within that site. So our strategy, really basic, but just really sticking in on the Chicago bed and breakfast type of stuff. So places to stay in Chicago, number one. Places to eat in Chicago, things to do in Chicago. So really going into that travel and that tourism type of informational content, content on travel, traveling on a budget, or stuff like that. You have your events, your attractions, your sightseeing and stuff in Chicago. So really lots of stuff to be diving into for this one. So our first competitor for this one is a DR23, 96.5k of organic traffic with 291 pages. Again, this one is just roaming the USA. So really just zoning in on the places you can stay and stuff in the USA. So best places to visit in the USA, romantic getaways in the USA. So lots of different stuff that we could potentially be looking at expanding into within this domain too. And our second competitor, so we have nomadicmap.com, DR78, 359k of organic monthly traffic, over 1,000 pages, but really awesome competitor to really be looking into and striving for the same type of success that they have. This guy, he really just talks about anything and everything travel. So really looking into the keywords and stuff and the content that he's doing, and being able to try and use it for hours as well. It's really awesome age domain. And then what makes these competitors stand out? So again, oh my god, Percy is distracting me.
Sorry, I said don't bring him in yet because it's going to distract Lois.
No, please do. I'm obsessed.
You finish and we'll take him. We'll take him full screen.
Oh, okay. I'll finish as soon as I can. Right. I only have 2 slides left, guys, so that we can all see Percy. So what makes these competitors stand out? Again, within the travel niche, it's really important to be creating these online communities, interacting with each other. The travel community is always looking for the tips, tricks, budgets, places to go and stuff like that. So having these online communities is really important. They also do have their own travel resources available for their readers. Again, something we could definitely look into within this age domain as well. Their own imagery, really important. And again, just having that constant content being uploaded. Again, with the revenue opportunities, you have your diversified income, affiliate programs, your newsletters, your products, display ads, all that type of stuff. And then really diversifying your traffic. So then you do that through your Google, your socials, your emails, your subscription opportunities, and then really optimizing that adding that frequent content, and then link building again. Thank you. Now bring on Percy, please.
Here he is. The other cat's in here as well now.
Oh,
we've got Roxy in here as well. She's the
wow.
Oh my god, she's adorable.
But yeah, one stole the other's fluff.
One's a Norwegian forest cat, which is super fluffy, and then this one literally has no fur at all, like he's bald. So
they are chalk and cheese. I'm obsessed. So cute.
Mike, you naysayer. 23. We got to 47 at the moment. So smashed through.
Percy. They came flying in after Percy.
He's still coming. They're still coming. There's a cat. The cat's gone now, but we're at 48. Yeah, just keep coming in now. But yeah,
I love it.
Made it.
Oh, amazing.
Hang on.
What's wrong, Mark?
No, I'm just checking the comments there.
I want to see the cat, but I prefer. Oh, I guess this is an inside joke with Roy, because Roy's cat, when we're on a call with him, sits on the sofa behind him.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, they hate the cats hate each other, by the way, as well. So like,
Oh,
literally.
do they?
Well, Roxy's the cat with lots of fur. She's 10 now, so she's like an old bird, and she just doesn't want to be bothered.
Oh.
And Percy's only 2 years
Mm.
old, so he wants to play with her all the time, and she just hasn't had it.
Yeah, she's over it. She's
Yeah.
like, no, don't have time for young men. God bless her.
Just want to take this question quickly from Dar. Oh
Yeah.
man, I'm not going to be able to pronounce that name. But
Yeah,
I'll
for
say
sure.
Dar. But isn't it stretched to be DR20 sites with DR17?
Yeah, so the whole point of showing these competitors really is not to say that these are the sites that we're going to tomb raid. It's to say that these are some of the bigger sites out there that are in a similar space. So like what's achievable, I guess. That's why we Lois puts a little slide in there which says what are they doing a good job of? They've created their own community, they've got their own imagery. It's kind of what you should be aspiring to get to. You know, just because you start with a DR20 site doesn't mean it's always going to stay a DR20 and it's going to stay a niche site. You should be aiming to make these bigger sites and do link building and turn them into DR70 sites with original imagery and newsletters and multiple sources of monetization. So it's not we're not comparing them and saying, hey, look, we started with a DR20 domain. Tomorrow you're going to be the same as these sites. It's more almost like an aspirational thing to say these guys are out there and they're doing a good job as well. So yeah, that's more of the comparison, really.
Yeah, I think Lois generally.
Definitely. It's just to show the opportunities, isn't it? And what can be achieved within that space.
Yeah, I think Lois quite often shares sites that are lower down, that are more equivalent sites as well as comparisons to what's achievable. But yeah, as Adam and Lois says, this is what we're all about, like scaling sites up and not just creating small niche sites. We're talking about scaling up long term, and that's why we talk about H domains and redirecting them in to boost their authority and aggressive content. So yeah, this is, we're not looking to aim low, we look to aim high.
Yeah.
Excellent. There are no more questions, but I guess I should do the merch, as I said that we would, which just type something into the chat if you're interested in getting some merch. Type it right now and we will we'll put your name in.
I guess now is an exciting time to say this is probably the last opportunity for you to get niche website builder merch. So leave that on a cliffhanger. But this is the last chance to get old school niche website builder merch.
It is.
Some announcements coming soon.
Watch this space.
Make sure you type something though, because if you don't type it, you won't get entered. It's just the way it works. That's how I'm going to be able to grab your name out of YouTube. So
you can just type "I love Percy" like Caitlin has. To be fair.
Yeah. But yeah. So big news coming next week, with it all going well.
Also, is anyone on the stream? I know Tony's going. Is anyone else going to affiliate gathering up in York next week? Is it next week or the week after?
It's next week.
Next week. Because if you are, me, Mark, Dave, and Leanne from the team are going up there. So we'll be walking around in our merch T-shirts. If you see us, say hello. If you want to arrange, a meetup or anything like that, just let us know as well. Just keen to meet like-minded people. So yeah, if you go and let us know.
For sure. Okay.
Mike's got another question while we're waiting for people to type stuff in. Is the Google sandbox real? Opinion? I don't know. It's the honest answer. We get sites that take off really, really quickly. Like this one is a prime example. It took off really quick. There doesn't seem to be any kind of sandboxing issue. And then you get other sites which take longer. And there seems to be, this space where site does very little growth for several months and then looks like it comes out of a sandbox because it takes off really quick. I don't know if it's Google throttling things. I don't think so. I think it's just some of it almost feels like luck sometimes. You can do all the right things and it still takes time for Google to pick up the site and index it and take off. And then other times it just happens really quick. So I don't think there's a specific sandbox per se. I don't know what you think, Mark.
I mean, Google doesn't describe it as that, right? They don't claim that there is, but I mean, clearly, especially if you're working with a fresh domain, you're just not going to get any traction for a period of time at the start, and that can vary from, depending how aggressive you're going with it. It could be as short as 4 or 5 months. It could be often 12 months before you really see any kind of traction, which can be really disheartening. But something exists that Google's not going to just trust you from day one with your first post, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because people would easily knock up scammy websites to scam you overnight and then like be gone the next day. So they want to have a barrier to entry into the SERPs, and they want to make sure they trust you before they put you right up top. So yeah, it makes sense. I think there is some kind of sandbox, whether it call it that or whatever, and how it actually works is slightly different. But yeah, there's definitely some kind of level of trust you have to gain within Google before they're going to give you any credibility, and that can happen in a number of different ways.
I think the answer in here, content velocity definitely speeds up the process as well, typically. Good question here. Do you guys acquire sites of a field built on expired domains doing low 5 figures? Yes, we do acquire them personally, but we are launching in the next week or so the Make Lemonade marketplace, where you can buy and sell sites. So if you're interested in selling any of those sites, let us know. We are more than happy to vet them, and if they pass our criteria, to list them on our new marketplace. And if you are one of the first few people to list the site, we're actually doing a special deal on the commission. So you'll literally pay 3.5% commission, which is half of what anybody else is charging. So yeah, if you're interested in selling them, go onto the website, hit up the chat. We'll get our marketplace manager to send you over the form where you can submit some details. And say if they pass our criteria, then we're happy to list them for you.
Yeah, you just have to submit your site before the end of May. Anyone who submits before the end of May gets that special rate of 3.5%. So go for it. Any other questions there, Adam, before we go on to the draw?
Nope. Just Tony basically saying let him know because he needs his drinking partner for affiliate gathering. So yeah.
Okay, let me just check. Nobody, not that many people want the last of the merch. So yeah, that's all of them. So
that's good news if you've typed something in. It means the odds are in your favor.
So let me remember how to do this. Okay, here we go.
Almost, Mark. You've almost
made it. It's like 5 clicks, It's quite right. Okay, here we go.
Oh, we used to have music and stuff here, didn't we? And
we did.
Background music, bit of hip hop. Here we go.
What's wrong with my do?
Didn't even work. Oh, there it is. Just slow. Oh, there we go. Win a T-shirt and sell your site. Even better.
Mr. Ahmed. There you go. Mr. Ahmed, yeah. So, drop us a message on the Niche Website Builders website at nichewebsite.builders, and we'll send you over a T-shirt you like, or a cap, or a mug, or something like that. And also, if you just message, Chris will be in touch with you about getting your address and details. But I'll tell you what, we'll also send you a new merch T-shirt as well when they're ready. So we can do that for you too. Double T-shirt for you. We can't really reveal the URL right now, but you'll see it if you're connected to any of our Facebook pages or the YouTube channel or anywhere, LinkedIn. Then you'll see it soon enough. We can't put that out right now. It's just not there. So, or it might be temporarily when it's not quite ready. So we need to just make sure it's done.
Basically, if you're interested in selling a site before Adrian, you can just let us know. We can send you the form over manually.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Niche Website Builders, if you go to Niche Website Builders anyway, it'll redirect to the new site next week.
Production level has dropped. I've got to agree with you. Mark's doing the transitions wrong. I'm forgetting the music. We need to get back into the groove, Mark.
Hey, the music is your job, man. Like the transition was fun.
Yeah, we're both
Nice.
slacking. We're both slacking.
no, hang on, just you slacking. All right, okay, so yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, good stream.
Nice to be back on the stream again. Good to see you, Lois, and till next time then, I guess. Shall I talk about what's coming up next, if there is anything coming up next?
Yeah, go for it.
We have Jordan next week, I believe.
Do we?
Oh, Jordan talking about
We
different types of
do.
affiliate marketing. He shared with me his
Yes.
presentation this week, and it's really good. It's interesting. It's outside of the usual Amazon Associates space, which most people instantly think about when they think about niche sites.
Excellent. Okay.
Be good. I'm excited.
Then that's what it is. Where is it? 6/11. Oh, I don't actually know. Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong month. That's
The
why.
production level is there. I think it's moved into Monday.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take this one. It's not in the spreadsheet. So
it's in Monday these days.
Okay. All right. So fantastic. Jordan's done an excellent presentation, according to Adam, on affiliate marketing outside the norm. So join us for that next week. Otherwise, thanks for joining the stream today.
And see you all in affiliate gathering next week if you're going to be there.
Great. All right. See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.